Okay, so when we are looking at drawing programs, we want to use them because it's a lot easier to draw structures in them than in PowerPoint. You can do it in PowerPoint, but it's a pain in the butt, right? So here are 3 versions that I have done in Accelerus Draw. What do you notice about them?
They're different.
They're obviously different. What is different about them? Thank you, Captain Obvious. Yes?
I've personally done this with the screenshot, and there's the Apple array that makes it.
Yes.
Pixel resolution.
So when we do just the screenshot, so you make one of these in ChemDraw and you're like, crap, what do I do? I save it, it wants to save the ChemSketch file. PowerPoint maybe doesn't know what that is. But the problem is when you put that into that screenshot into PowerPoint, it gets all pixelated. So the biggest issue with that is if you do it in ChemDraw, maybe the size it is, it looks fine if it's small, but then you realize, oh, can you see that, Vichad?
Oh.
What's the central atom down here?
I thought I cheated.
Phosphorus.
P.
It's a phosphorus. Can you actually see the P?
No.
No, you know it's 4 coordinate, but that's about it, or 5 coordinate, but that's about it. When you want to resize it, it doesn't scale, right? It's just one size, and the resolution may be fine if it's tiny, but when you try to blow it up, it looks like crap. All of these programs allow you to save typically as an EMF, which is a Windows enhanced meta file or just an enhanced meta file, and those are vector images, meaning basically they can tell the computer you've got a line here, but it's not an image necessarily. And the beautiful thing about vector images is that they scale, right? So that line resolution looks exactly the same as it did when it was smaller. So that you can put them into PowerPoint and they will look better. So usually save as an image and an EMF, and then you just insert it as a picture, and it will go in as a picture. It's a little bit more steps than just doing the screenshot, but it makes for better pictures. There's still an issue with that. One, or the one in the center, the resolution has been fixed, but it's still maybe a little bit hard to see. And it's a little bit hard to see probably for 2 reasons, in particular that phosphorus. That phosphorus is orange, and an orange on a white background is not great. It's a little bit hard to see. And also it's a little bit small. And even the lines are probably okay, but they could be a little bit bigger. So the rightmost one, I have turned off the colors for the atoms. I have made the symbols bigger, and I made the lines thicker, just to make it easier to see. So the issue of color in the atom labels, basically what you want to do in a seminar like this is avoid distraction. Because anytime you have distracting things on the screen, the audience is going to be trying to figure out why the phosphorus is orange, and if that is important, and they will not be listening to you anymore, and they should be listening to you, right? So if the phosphorus is important, sure, leave it orange. If the nitrogens need to be blue, yeah, leave them blue, if the nitrogens are important. But if they aren't, then there's nothing wrong with making everything black, because then it's higher contrast against the white, it's easier to see. And of course, that scales as well. If you would like guidelines, we have in the ChemDrawing programs presentation settings. So most of these settings are pretty standard. Make this big enough that you can actually maybe read it. So 120-degree angles, yeah, that's standard. What you want to look for are changing the line widths, possibly the bold widths and the bond lengths, and the atom labels and captions. So the first one, this one I think is the default, which I think was a 10-point font. That was 12 or 14. I don't remember what I did, but you need to go bigger in order to see it. The other thing that I did between left and center, what else did I do? It's hard to tell because image is kind of cruddy.
You added hydrogen.
I added hydrogens. So I don't recall if ChemDraw does this, but if Celoris Draw turns off explicit hydrogens pretty much uniformly as the default. And that is misleading in some cases, because we're used to seeing hydrogens on hetero atoms for the most part. So I turned on explicit hydrogens for the NH2 so that we know it's an NH2 and the OH down there. The other ones, it drew okay. That's another thing to keep in mind. So the goal, obviously, with our presentation is to make sure that it is not distracting, it is visible in the back. We'll talk about other slide design stuff on Monday. The other thing that you will be doing, not for homework 3, but for your paper, is probably pulling figures from the PDF, right? So we have on the left a screenshot that I got from the paper, and on the right I have an Acrobat Reader snapshot tool version. They are the same image. How can you read the scale on the left? Not at all. It's all pixelated. Looks terrible. We also have a solid line, and then it looks like it turns like into a dashed line somehow in there. So PDFs you can get high quality images out of, but just doing the regular size screenshot will not give you what you want. So if we have Acrobat, so here's an article, let's find an image. Find an image that isn't gigantic. Let's pick another paper. There we go, that'll work. Nice low quality image, basically, that we want to transfer over. In Acrobat Reader even, there is a tool to do that. So first of all, we have to actually find it. It's not shown. You can get to it a couple of ways. Edit, take a snapshot. You can also add that to the toolbar, if I can find it. Toolbar items. There we go. It's buried, but there it is. So now we have a little camera. So this allows you to click and drag, and it will then take a snapshot of it. And it does a better job than doing the screen capture. The other thing that we can do that probably doesn't hurt is to make the image as absolutely big as we can to fit in the screen. So we'll make that nice and big. Click on the snapshot tool, highlight it, and because we are doing you're doing the article, you don't have to use their caption at all. You can write your own. You can type your own text. So we copied that. And now we can paste it in, and it's gigantic right now. So we'll zoom out a little bit. Just to get it as good as we can. There are some cases where we will not be able to get very good, so if you have very low resolution images like this, then you're kind of stuck with the article, but we'll get as good of a resolution as we can. Certainly this is a chemical structure, so you should just go ahead and make it yourself in ChemDraw or something. Other things to consider while we're in PowerPoint. If I make this white screen, if you notice, it's going all the way to the edges of the screen. That is because we have a widescreen projector, right? So it makes sense to use all of the available real estate you can when putting your presentation together. If you have an older version of PowerPoint, that may not be the default. There's a way to change it, and I would suggest changing it early rather than late, because if you change the format of your slides midway through, some things will get moved and adjusted and come out of alignment maybe, and you don't want that, so just start from it. In newer PowerPoint, it's under Design. In older PowerPoint, it's under, I think, File Page Setup. So it's Design, Slide Size. And our projector is a widescreen 16 by 9. If you do not have that, if you have the older version, then it's going to go 4:3. And yes, everything fits, but now we've got big black bars on the side that we don't really need. So go ahead and make it widescreen so that it fits. There are other things that we can do. We like animations. We like animations for a couple of reasons. We like animations because you have all of this stuff on the slide. You've got bullets. So shocking pot. And maybe a cat. So everyone loves cats. If you have something like this, you obviously, if you're presenting it, you want the shocking point to be shocking. You don't want the shocking point to be up there when you turn the slide on and people are like, oh, a shocking point. It's boring. I read that 30 seconds ago. You're not shocking me anymore. I'm captivated by the cat now and I'm not listening to you. So we can use animations to pace the timing at which things appear. And we can do that with text, we can do that with images. So that is the animations menu. And what's really helpful is the animations pane. So we'll go ahead and turn on the animation pane. We'll turn off the formatting thing. And all we really need to do is highlight and then click the animation that we want. So I want, actually I want another bullet to appear. And now see I have another bullet appearing there. I want my shocking point to appear. So we'll do appear. I want the cat to appear. And then maybe I want the cat to disappear. So I have all of these options for how I want the animation to occur. Oh, I switched that. That's why. So I have a bullet, and I talk about a bullet, and then I want to talk about another bullet, so I have another bullet come in. And then I wanted to make my shocking point, and there's my shocking point. And then I screwed up. I should have the cat appearing now, and then when I'm done talking, I can make the cat go away. And all of that is laid out in the animation pane so you can follow order. So that's just appearing and disappearing. PowerPoint lets you do really stupid, obnoxious things with your animations. Like I could make my shocking point spin or grow, shrink, or desaturate, or bold flash. I don't even know what that does. Yeah, that was boring. But most of the things that PowerPoint includes are distracting. Right? Emphasis could be okay, but making it bounce in from the left, it's just not professional, really. So there's no point to use those. There is a very useful one that it includes, and that is paths. So if we're going to do paths, I need a shape. So I'm going to give myself a box. I'm going to go to the animations. And then I am going to choose, you have lines, arcs, turns, shapes, loops, but then custom path. So custom path is very helpful. If you are talking your way through an instrument, you want to move your analyte from the sample area through the ionization chamber into the separation, into the detector and whatnot. So it's very easy. You click for a starting point, and then you click and drag for your path. And double click when you're done. And then it moves. So it follows that path, and then you can see where that path takes you. You can drag the whole thing. It's very hard to edit. You just have to redo it.
Can you slow that?
You can. I was just going to show you that. So in the animation pane, you can change how effects happen or how animations happen. So there's, first of all, start on click, start with previous, start after previous. So if you have a couple of things that you want to show up when you click. So maybe you have, your instrument has, you've got 3 or 4 different boxes that you want to show up. You would put them all, you would put the first one start on click and the rest start with previous. If you want something to start after previous, so that would be thing appears and then it moves without you clicking, that would be that. Effect options you can play with. Timing would be how to slow this down. So if I set it to very slow, we'll try that. So that slowed it down. Let's see. Yeah, so we could actually tweak it more even in the edit for that. So there are lots of ways that you can add to your presentation by doing some of these things judiciously, basically to control the pace. But again, you want to avoid being distracting to the audience. Questions? Certainly when we get to the point where you are putting your presentation together, if you have questions about how to do this, first of all, Integrity is going, so this is going to be up on Blackboard, but you're always welcome to stop by and I can help out with that.